and they added Saturday as opening. So I had a front desk for Saturday. And they added 6K a month to their revenue.
Say that again, Charlie. They added
6K a month in revenue just by opening Saturday.
Wow.
Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast, the show for clinic owners who want real, honest advice and tried and tested ways of doing things. I'm Katie Bell, and this is the new era of bigger insights and bolder conversations to help you grow a clinic and a life you love. Let's dive in.
Charlie, welcome back to the podcast.
Good to be back.
Great to have you here. Charlie, let's dive straight in, and then people know who you are because you've been on the podcast before, but we'll come to that in a second. I want to dive straight into some really interesting conversations that we're hearing lots of clinic owners having, which is all about AI.
Yeah.
They taking different types of software to support their clinic, from receptionists, things that are automating stuff for them. I'm really intrigued to know, what's your opinion on it? And what is actually working when it comes to kind of client acquisition?
Yeah, sure. No, good question. Yeah, so I think in terms of AI, there's a lot of noise out there at the moment. A lot of tools showing up. And I think overall, there's an indirect and a direct route to kind of AI pushing clinic acquisition. From a search perspective, the potential of booking some ChatGPT is pretty low still. Luckily, we have the reporting of many clinics. It's probably around less than 5% directly from AI search, be that ChatGPT or Claude. But what is interesting is a lot bigger part of the user journey. What we're seeing is people maybe using AI search for gaining information about a clinic, finding more information about their situation, whether it's an injury or diagnosis, and then going onto other platforms such as Google search, your reviews, and doing much more of an analysis and a research-backed approach to picking a clinic. So what I'm trying to say is the direct bookings from AI search, which is still pretty low, like I said, lower than 5%, but there's the indirect influence it's having on a user research journey. So it's really important to start looking at your AI search kind of optimization. That's only going to grow. It's only going to go one way. It's only going to become more and more of the journey. But users are a lot more informed now. And clinicians are probably seeing that. When people come to their clinic, they're probably a lot more informed because of AI search. And more about the clinic.
With their diagnosis, Charlie, because this is what's wrong with them.
Exactly.
And this is how quick we can get them back.
Yeah, it can be good and bad, right? Yeah. So sometimes people can be going down the wrong track. Sometimes it can help, right? As you probably see on your side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of talk about it. In fact, I ran a marketing masterclass a few weeks ago now, maybe a month ago. Yes. And one of the things that somebody was really keen on asking about was, like, what do I need to be doing to make sure that I'm found in terms of when people are using AI to search? And there's lots of things that they can be doing, Charlie, isn't there? But clinicians seem to be more aware of, they can't just be sat back being very passive when it comes to their visibility. It's important that they are active.
Yeah, and I think the clients that we work with that are doing the best, we're working in synergy, right? So we're very performance-based. We're typically focused on the technical channels, so paid search, whether that be Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO, AI search optimization. But there's a lot a clinic can be doing internally, collecting reviews, making sure their front desk are optimal and picking up the phone, making sure they're getting back to the leads, maybe even networking in the local area, workshops. So the best clinics are actually doing both, working with us, the performance side, but also working on a lot of these other kind of maybe non-digital and in some cases some digital channels. Yeah.
I think that's really great to hear, Charlie, because we teach within Thrive offline marketing is a really strong the marketing toolbox. Yeah. And we always say, don't be reliant on one lead source.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we don't own the only thing we own is our email list, right? And most people aren't doing anything to grow that in the industry because they're too busy doing everything else. But that is the only thing we own it. But
exactly. Yeah.
And everything is changing so fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we just have all our eggs in that basket, my concern is that isn't a robust marketing strategy. And so you would agree as a digital marketing expert.
Yeah, 100%. I'd say I'd add to that reviews as well.
Yeah.
Probably the other thing that you own. Yeah, so reviews in your email list. But I think like basically, before you could rely on one channel, so you could set up a Google Ads campaign or a Facebook ads, and you'd expect at least some of those leads to trickle into patients if you had everything operationally from a front desk perspective sorted out.
Yeah.
But now that's completely changed. People will jump around, right? They will see you on Facebook, maybe search for you on Google Maps. They'll visit your website. They'll then check your reviews. They might go into Trustpilot. They might go into AI search. So it's really important to have that holistic approach to marketing. Yeah. And yeah, clinics that are doing that are definitely one step ahead, I would say.
That's really interesting. You mentioned about the front desk in that conversation there. This is, again, what I was teaching Charlie, but I asked the question of, when was the last time you trained your front desk? You actually did consultative sales training with them.
Yeah.
Not like icky, horrible selling, because none of us like that. But actually, we teach within Thrive a consultative selling framework and how we take the patient through that journey, how we manage their expectations, meet their expectations, etc. When was the last time, as clinic owners, you did that for your front desk?
What are the answers to that?
Yeah.
Never. Yeah. Do you do it yourself?
No.
How often do you do it?
Monthly.
Monthly, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, but because that's my zone of genius, Charlie, like I love teaching stuff, so it's easy. Yeah. Okay, it's easier for me to do it, and I'm non-clinical and I'm CEO, so I have the time to invest. But they absolutely love it. And what was really apparent to me when we first started this initiative is that they just didn't know it. They didn't know how to objection handle. They didn't know how to take a patient through a process almost of when you are dealing with an inquiry, how they didn't know how to divert away from price questions and showcase the value, and then the price is irrelevant. None of that. So I think it was nobody else was doing it, and I thought this is a massive.
Do you teach that at Thrive?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, and we're just launching actually we have a therapist transformation course where we teach the therapists how to do this so that they can convert and retain really well. So the clinic owners will send their team to us and we'll do it for them because they haven't got time. But we're also launching, Charlie, in October, a practice manager transformation course.
Okay.
So the lead administrator can come and learn in 4 modules over 4 months with Nicola, who's all of the metrics, how they get them, what they should be reporting on, all of that kind of inquiry management process, because so important. Are not trained in. They're great at meeting, and they're lovely, gorgeous people, and that's fantastic. But they've also they are like your bread and butter.
Yeah, I think the front desk is the highest leverage person in a clinic.
I agree,
and like people don't realize that. Actually, with the correct training, it's going to probably have the biggest impact on your business from a top line revenue perspective. And in some cases,
they won't pay for administrators.
Yeah.
Because they see it as a cost, and I can't get my head around.
It's really interesting because it's an area where we've got more involved in. Not from a teaching perspective, like what the journey you're about to go on with Thrive, but more from a reporting perspective. Yeah. Now, luckily in our situation, we track all our we can track all of our client calls. We can also track revenue from client calls. So we can see exactly like the anatomy of a perfect front desk call. You mentioned a few things like objection handling, listening to their concerns at the beginning, letting them speak, but not letting them speak too much. Yeah. Actually mentioning pricing is really important, especially for conversion. Don't avoid it.
Yeah.
Showing scarcity, like showing that you're busy, right? Yeah. Because people then are more likely to book with you.
Yeah.
So these are like the elements of a really good front desk call. And objection handling, like you mentioned. The one thing that we're realizing is marketing is only half the story. Effective, high quality lead generation is important, but the follow up, the call handling is so important as well. And also what we're seeing is, if that journey is seamless and the front desk is answering the calls effectively, it's not just going to have an impact on conversion, but it's going to have an impact on lifetime value, because their journey, their first impression of you is so strong that they're actually, when we see this in the data, they end up staying with you longer, right?
Wow.
And then have that relationship with that person. When they then come to the clinic, they're seeing that person they may have spoken to. They've created that connection for your business. So it's so important.
System. I think for me, AI is a great cup tool for those out of hours times that I agree it's not sometimes feasible to have somebody on your front desk all hours.
Yeah.
But interestingly, Charlie, before COVID, we had somebody on Saturday.
Yes.
And it happened, they went to ratchet as it did for everybody. And we changed how we worked. And it was, we're like, 6 years on? And we've not gone back to Saturday.
Really? Yeah.
Had the idea for absolutely ages. And then we've done this whole, let's monitor our calls. How many do we actually get? We played with the idea and not really done anything about it. And then 2 weeks ago, Katie, my business manager, happened to just nip in to the clinic on Saturday because she's like, I'm just going to get something done. She said, I was right off my feet. There was emails, there was phone calls coming in, there was people coming in. She said, I don't know if it was just a random one, but how much missed opportunity?
Yeah.
So option one could be we get AI. For me, it's not the best option. Option two is get an administrator to work Saturday and we cover those hours, because actually when you look at what that would cost us and the likelihood of them converting probably one patient who will stay with us for X amount of time, like you've said, Charlotte, they stay with us longer, pays for them.
It pays for them easily, right? I think there's a couple of things that from Katie's Saturday experience is that we recently had a client who's fully booked in Liverpool and they focus on sports injuries. So typically that person is busy in the week. Once they have a sports injury, they want to come in on the weekend in some cases, because that's when they're free.
Yeah.
And they added Saturday as opening. So I had a front desk for Saturday and they added 6K a month to their revenue.
Say that again, Tyler. They added
6K a month in revenue just by opening Saturday, immediately as well. So that's probably going to grow as they get more efficient. And I think there's a couple of things here, right? So leveraging your opening hours when you're busy, or at least at times when potential clients might not book with you in the week, because he's in the city centre in Liverpool, so he's probably in an area where there's a lot of office workers, etc. So it depends on the context.
Yeah.
So leveraging your office and opening hours, front desk and practitioner. But in addition to that, I think a lot of people look at front desk as a cost, and it is a cost, right? But then they don't add to the picture all the other elements of it, like the revenue generation increase, the existing patient increase because people now have more times available. So that cost on that Saturday is normally more than paid for, right? And your experience with your clients will be better too, because they've got more options to come and see them, see different people, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so many layers to it, isn't there? And I think one of the things we hear a lot of clinic owners say, Charlie, they see this as a cost and really is an investment, is, okay, worst case scenario, they cost neutral.
Yeah.
But you've not had to do any of the emails at the weekend.
Yeah.
And you've not had to,
there's a value to that as well, your time, a greater value. Yeah.
But actually, every member of staff should be measured and should be managed, because of all of the changes to the employment rights and day one, all of these things that have changed. We need to be better as leaders, and that requires us to be very clear and have a huge clarity on their roles and responsibilities and what we are measuring them against. So how do we know they're performing? Yeah. And so if we have that clarity around rebook rate, cancellation, rebooks, debt collection, time on invoicing, how quickly the calls are answered, all of these things, you can quickly measure how effective this person is being. And definitely. You can then performance manage them against that. So when you are bringing somebody in that you think is a cost, the first thing to do is look at what revenue generating activities or profit generating or cost saving activities could I get this person to do that would pay for them within month one. And that's the first thing that we give them, we measure them on. So coming back to my point, AI feels like using AI as a call handling facility. We haven't gone down that route because I fight with it, because it doesn't, for me, it's not bespoke enough. It's not that. I have my own opinions on AI. And just quickly, you just reminded me of an F1 quote from somebody who, a guy called Toto Wolff, who's a Mercedes lead guy at Mercedes. And he's, how do you get such a healthy culture? And he said, whenever a mistake is made, he never thinks of it as a people issue. He always thinks of it as a system issue. And I think, how is that relevant to what you were just saying? If a front desk person comes in, or we have existing front desk person, you have to put the framework in place for them to perform as well as possible. Yeah. And I think a lot of clinics don't necessarily have that. They just let them fly.
And some will not fly. Yeah, exactly. And I think some people, like, you might get a great front desk who just who's great and doesn't need that, but then more often than not, they do need those frameworks. And I think that's really important, like, to have the metric. And I think most people thrive in that situation. I know they want that, they need that, right? They need to be analyzed and given a framework to be able to thrive. I think
know that they're doing a great job.
And then back to your AI point, because I know that you asked about AI. So you're never going to beat an effective human. AI is never going to beat it, in my opinion. We've had some clinics recently who, one of the issues with clinics once we start working with them is they only have one line. They quickly get busy. And especially if it's a conversation that's lasting 10, 15 minutes, which can happen with some situations with clients. If that front desk is you only have one line, people will just be hitting voicemail. So opening up multiple lines is really important, and having those lines manned by a human, if possible, is ideal. I think when AI can be great, it's the 5% that can't get through, or the out of hours, like you mentioned. Because otherwise there'd be nothing there, right? So I think human first always. AI is never going to replace front desk. We have some AI only core clinics that just have AI, and they don't perform as well as a human led. And I don't think they ever will, right?
No. And I think in the world that we seem to be living in now, people are using AI to optimize and make their life so much more efficient and easy and this, that, and the other. But I also think it's creating a feeling of people are craving social contact as well. And so when you are not a clinic that has a bot or has somebody answering the phone that is not actually a real human. You remember? People love the fact when they ring our clinic and we know their name and we've saved their number on the phone so we can answer with, "Oh, hi Charlie, how are you?" They're like, "Oh, it's like we're
made a decision already, basically."
Exactly. So we touched upon having a holistic approach to marketing. We've touched upon the importance of the front desk and the training of your front desk team. And then the other thing I want to just talk about, Charlie, is because we've seen this a lot and you've worked with us a lot on this, Charlie, but the booking process and how important that is in conversion of an inquiry to a new patient. And there's lots of factors in terms of the length of time it takes somebody to actually book an appointment on your system, how easy it is for them to find the booking button, and then the availability when they get there, because most people who are in pain are hot and ready. They want it today or tomorrow, not 3 weeks on Tuesday.
So I think with our clients, with the data we have, so for context, we connect all our marketing data to practice management software revenue. So we get a really clear overview of what's generating revenue from marketing, not traffic or leads or volume of calls, actually money in the bank for the clinic. And the one thing that we've realized is calls are by far the highest leverage point of contact. And quite obviously, because if you do have an effective front desk in place, you do have a great person on the phone. Once somebody gets through to them, they have that connection you just mentioned, Katie. You can listen to their concerns. You can schedule an appointment around both of your diaries, right? All of these things are very difficult online. So for example, through a practice management software booking system, you've got to go through sometimes 10, 15 steps. You then got to pick a practitioner. You then got to pick a time if it's available. You then sometimes have to create an account. You're making somebody do a lot of work to book in with you. So from a booking perspective, we tend to we always try to remove the practice management software booking system because the conversion rate is so low, and we try and get people on the phones, right? And that's why the conversation we were having around front desk performance is really important, because if you have that nailed down, you will make a lot more money. It's as simple as that, especially if you're working with an agency who knows how to drive high quality leads, right? So in layman's terms, it's like 2 parts: marketing, high intent leads, visibility in the right areas, effective front desk follow-up. So we always try and push calls because they convert way higher and the lifetime value is higher too. But then we also have a secondary booking option, which is typically a form-based booking option, because some people don't want to speak. Some people are busy. And with the form route, out of hours sometimes becomes more popular, the form booking route, because obviously no one's around at the front desk. and that it's just having an effective follow-up in place for the form. So whether that's in the morning, your front desk person's calling back at 8:30 whenever they're in the office, but also having maybe an automation in place for follow-up of emails on WhatsApp. So one thing that is working really well at the moment actually is if somebody does submit a form, sending a WhatsApp, because it's a little bit easier to get start a conversation within WhatsApp than say email or SMS. So having those frameworks in place is really important to a successful clinic. And when I think about our clients that are performing the best, as in turning their marketing spend into the most revenue, sometimes 10, 15x, they have all those things in place from a front desk operational perspective, as you probably see as well.
Absolutely, Charlie. I was at the VBS seminar or conference 2 weeks ago, and I was presenting, and I stood on stage with, I had to get 2 willing men actually to help me because nobody would come up on stage, and I just picked on these 2 because I knew the names. They came up, and one had to hold a bucket, an empty bucket, and the other one had to hold another bucket above it. And this bucket that he was holding above had holes in the side and the bottom. And then I poured a litre of water into the top of the bucket. And it was the visual effect of, and so I said to everybody in the room, what do you think this water represents?
Yeah.
And they were shouting clients and money and energy and time and cash and all of those, right? Everybody was right.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to get them to understand is that you can have the best marketing agency and system and lead generation in the whole world. If your bucket has got holes in and your front desk are not performing, or you don't have them on enough, or you're not willing to invest that a Saturday cover, or you don't have a reactivation system, or your team aren't converting from new patient to ongoing care, all of those things, right? Then you are just wasting cash ultimately.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can only be as great, Charlie, as the clinic systems are.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really admire about what you're doing, is that you're really helping clinic owners see those holes. And that's what we work with clinic owners really heavily on, is sorting all this out, because then you can pump your marketing channel all day long and you can really invest money.
Exactly. We were just having this conversation because we obviously now do your marketing, and immediately, because you've got a limited leaky bucket, there might be a couple of holes there, right? Because it's hard to completely plug it.
As everybody grow, you will find more holes.
Yeah. Things will pop up, right?
Yeah.
But you have a very well run, efficient clinic where, when we implemented our systems with your already present systems, it flourishes and you almost get results 1-2 months in, whereas there will be some other clinics we work with, operationally, they have a lot more work to do. And look, we're in the growth game for clinics. We're in a position where we can actually help from that perspective now too. And actually, for the success of our clients, we've had to do that. We've had to look at how you're serving clients. And luckily, we have the technology to be able to do that. Yeah.
And I think, Charlie, I think this is a great time for for those listeners who maybe don't know who you are, is for you to just tell everybody who Klatch is and what you do, because what you do is, for me, it's a very transparent view. The metrics that you really back up all of the decisions with. This is what the numbers are also telling us. So, Charlie, tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, we're super transparent. And I think, I'm the founder of Klatch. We've been around for 2.5-3 years now. I started my journey actually working with some friends who are clinic owners. And so I had an outside perspective, an unbiased kind of objective perspective of how marketing agencies were serving my friends' clinics. And I think the core issue I saw was lack of transparency, lack of really knowing what's driving clinic revenue, clinic growth. So that's why we're a little bit different. We have a software where we can connect all marketing performance to business performance. So actually, we're looking at the right data from a business perspective. It also means that we can speak on the same terms. We speak the same language, business numbers, not marketing. So we can actually see what's working and what's not working. And I think that's really important for an effective clinic marketing agency relationship, because clinics are in a bit of a difficult situation. It's expensive to hire someone full time in the clinic, and there's not always 5 days of work for a marketing person because it's an SME, right? Or a small business.
Yeah.
But then there's not very many good options out there from a marketing perspective. So we try and plug that gap as a partner. And I think for growth, it's really important to always be transparent, because if you push things aside, if something isn't working, you push it aside, you're not learning, right? And I always use a clinical reference here. You wouldn't work with somebody without a proper diagnosis or a proper knowing exactly what's going on. You wouldn't just push them a package or a procedure without knowing the full picture. And that's what we do with our marketing, is we know the full picture. So it means we can make the right steps time after time. And that's where growth comes from. It's knowing the full picture, whether that's good or bad, right?
Yeah.
And then moving forward together.
Yeah. So you work with clinic owners like we do, who are established, are looking for growth, who usually have team members, whether they're associates, which if you work with me, we will be removing them from your business, moving into employed models, but team members or people that are on the cusp of really going to that next level and need that marketing support. So for those clinic owners that have loved this conversation, how do they reach out to you, Charlie?
Yeah, sure. You can book a discovery call with myself directly on our website. And I'll jump on a call, half an hour call with you guys. I will do some analysis of your current situation already using the suite of tools that we have. So that call will be constructive. I will know where your bottlenecks are from an online perspective. And we just have a 30-minute chat, basically learn a bit more about your clinic, learn a bit more about you, and see if we're a good fit.
Amazing. I will make sure we put the direct link to your discovery call, Charlie, in the notes to this. Charlie, just as we wrap up this fantastic conversation, because we could talk, what are the things that you would advise clinic owners listening to this in the next 30 days that they could do that would have the biggest impact on their growth?
Yeah, good question. I want to say know your numbers, but that's your tagline. So
I'll steal that.
Yeah, but it's really difficult, right? Because it's a minefield out there of new technologies, research. There's a lot happening at the moment, as you'll be aware, and there's a lot of noise. But I think I don't want to give a wishy-washy answer, but
I think you should stay with your numbers, Charlie, because what you just saying there, there's a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of temptation to jump on and do a lot of shit. And we're seeing this at clinic owners. I'm going to take AI call handling, and I'm going to get this software, I'm going to implement go high level, and maybe I'm going to do this and this, and then just run ragged. But they're doing it off no strategy. There's no backdrop to that of actually.
And then you don't know what's working, right?
Exactly,
there's so many things going on. My advice is going to be, don't listen to the noise. Not much has changed, if I'm being honest. From an acquisition perspective, Google still 70-80% of new patient generation. I think a good example of this is a lot of people have run towards a lot of AI tech, and people are probably realizing, it's not exactly what we expected, and it's not the bells and whistles that we thought was going to happen. So that's actually a really good example, is not much has changed. Don't rush into things, increase your overheads just because it looks like the shiny new thing. Actually know your numbers and actually wait it out a little bit. You don't have to rush into things. A lot of the core reasons of clinic growth are still the same, right? Not much has really changed. And actually, I'm going to give one answer, and it's going to be your front desk performance. And I touched on it already. That one of the highest leverage person in your business is the front desk, and you already referred to it as well, Katie, is getting the metrics in place for that person. That probably would be my one thing. It's not even a marketing thing, right? It is in a way, indirectly, but that would be my advice. Would be the front desk person, because you can get a lot more out of what you're already generating with that person doing.
And I think, Charlie, to quote your F1 guy, it's interesting, isn't it? How do you create a great culture? And that it's either he doesn't think it's often a people problem, it's a process problem or a system problem. But I would also say that a lot of us hire front desk people because they are just lovely humans and they on paper seem really nice, but actually we need to hire based on what we need them to be able to do. So we work in terms of colours, as Charlie, and strengths, right? And so everybody listening to this podcast will understand that you probably want a blue or a yellow on your front desk because they're relationship-based people. They're very happy-go-lucky team players, very positive energy. Blue is a much more high detail, so they would be a better fit colour if we were being very specific. But also from a strengths point of view, we want somebody that is high in execution, and ideally we need them to have, if they are going to be discussing kind of rebooking and packages and programs and upselling. We need them to have something in influencing as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So
you're red, Katie.
I'm a yellow.
You're
I'm
a yellow.
red.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so
you're a yellow red.
Yeah. So I am quite low detail in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Move more quickly.
Move very quickly.
I can see that.
I'd like to be there with my pom-poms cheering everybody on, making it all feel great, but I don't really want to get involved in the doing of all that small stuff. That's not my bag. But so I think once you are sure, F1 guy, because he will hire, I'm sure, in Mercedes, they will have a very robust hiring process. So they'll have a high values, strong values fit. They will strength test them. They will put all those things. Definitely. So if we know we've got the right people, then it's definitely a process problem.
Exactly.
And it's usually that falls down. And I think that's important for clinic owners to know that your front desk person has to be wired in the right way to perform well for you as a clinic owner.
Yeah, and also I think there's an indirect benefit of this approach. If your people know that they're not going to be finger pointed, or it's okay to make some mistakes, because actually the mistakes are what you learn from, right? The mistakes are how you improve the systems and processes. Yeah. You create a culture which is a lot more open, transparent, less worried about making mistakes. So you get the indirect benefit of people being a lot less restricted and tight.
They're often the best people to put the process in place, not the clinic owner. Because the clinic owner usually is the visionary, the low detail, spinning a million different plates. We're not process-driven people, usually. So actually, your front desk are the best people to optimize and improve a process. So, Charlie, this has been a fascinating conversation.
Great. Yeah, really nice. Thanks.
Packed full of value. So thank you. And thank you also for being one of our very valuable sponsors at this podcast. It allows it to go out every single week. It allows us to help lots and lots of clinic owners and make a huge impact. Thank you from me.
Thanks for having me. It's been great to speak with you.
Yeah, and then come back soon.
Yeah, well, whenever I'm here. So I'll be there.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Treat Your Business podcast. Hit subscribe now and keep joining me for bigger insights, bolder conversations to help you build a clinic and a life you love.